Hey guys, so for today's video I am doing my mom's nails. I mentioned this in my last video where I was doing my nails that I was going to be doing my mom's nails, and I am going to be doing a galaxy set again. Also, like I mentioned in that last video, I was kind of went on like a galaxy kick here all of a sudden for some reason, and I just did a whole bunch of different like galaxy type sets. But this video I wanted to show me doing her nails as well. Usually I don't film whenever I do my mom's nails, but I wanted to this time just because I wanted to make a video for those that aren't really into the super long nails and they want to see how to do a set like this on some shorter nails or even natural nails. I also wanted to show like how to do the planets without having to do them 3D if you don't like 3D elements on your nails, or if you're like my mom and you can't have 3D elements on your nails. And you can see how to paint the planets on instead of sculpting them out. So to start off, I'm just taking the black from Ball Pit and painting all of her nails with this. I did only do one coat of this and I did cure it for 60 seconds. I will say that I basically do the same exact process for her nails that I did for my nails, at least for the background like base part of the nails. So like if you've already seen me do that, you can skip ahead to the part where I'm doing the planets if you want to see like how I go about doing the planets, or if you want to, you can sit and watch it all, you know, whatever, it's fine. And these are my mom's natural nails, or at least it's her natural length. I do have an overlay on her nails. we've been doing builder gel overlay on her nails because with her job she's like washing her hands a lot and she like works with her hands a lot, and like the gel polish was chipping off, and she was having a few breaks here and there of her natural nails. So I started applying an overlay to her nails to try and help retain like the manicure and to keep the gel polish from chipping, also to protect her natural nails from breaking, and it's been working really well so far. I will say though, before I did this set, she did have like a chunk of the builder gel missing off of like the corner of her thumb, but her natural nail was still fully intact. So I don't know what happened there. I did have to fix that, but other than that, everything's been fine, and the builder gel overlay has been really helping with preventing breaks in her natural nails, as well as preventing the gel polish that I paint onto her nails from chipping. After getting the black on, I'm taking Whimsical Wonderland from Nails by Dev. You've seen me use this quite a few times here lately. I absolutely love this cat eye. It honestly is like a galaxy in a bottle. It's that blue to like purple shift, or like purple to blue shift, and it has like all those little glitters in there. There's like hollow glitters and like reflective glitters. Super pretty. You could honestly do this on its own and call that a galaxy set if you wanted to. But anyhow, I just painted that on. I brought up all the magnet pieces with that larger cylinder magnet. And then I took my little pen magnet and just did some little like swirls and stuff to kind of give that like galaxy flow to the nails. And then after I got the design how I wanted it, I did go ahead and flash cure it real quick to hold it in place. That way the magnet pieces didn't go back to their original state. And then after getting all of the nails done with the cat eye gel polish, we did go ahead and cure for a full 60 seconds. Also, if you see any like red or black spots on my hands and fingers, just ignore that. I was in the middle of dyeing my hair as I was doing her nails. Like right before I started painting her nails, I put the color on real quick. That way it could process as I was painting her nails. So then when I finished, I could just go wash it out. But yeah, so if you see any of those black spots on my hands, I think there's a couple spots, like red spots too, just know that it's hair dye and not something like gel polish or like dirt or anything like that. And when it came to doing like the base of the nails, I only showed me doing this one hand. I think this is her left hand. Yeah, her left hand. Just because like it's pretty repetitive, and I feel like you kind of get the point with me doing showing just this one hand. I do think when I move on to like, I don't even know if I show me doing the stars on both hands even. I think I just show both hands when I get to the planets. Just because that's a little more interesting to watch. The planets all kind of have their own like variations, whereas I feel like when I'm doing this cat eye, even though like the cat eye like design is different on each nail, it's basically just the same thing over and over again. So I feel like I don't really need to show all 10 fingers. So now I'm just pulling out the colors that I'm going to be using. I have the white, Hello Sydney, Best Buds, Butterfly Babe, Clowning Around, Evil Eye, Reindeer Games, and I forgot what that blue one is. It's either Undead or Clear Skies. I can't remember, but these colors are all from Ball Pit and Nails by Dev. I wanted to... Oh, I was wrong. It's Peace and Love. Anyhow, I wanted to stick to more like softer colors and not so much like neon colors, like kind of how I did with my nails. There are a lot of like bright color, like neon colors on my planets, and I wanted to keep the colors that I used on my mom's nails a little softer than that, just because she's not really into like super flashy and like show-offy nails. She does like more simple nails, so doing something like this was already out of her comfort zone, so I tried to bring it in a little bit and use more like softer colors, or more like, I guess, natural kind of planet colors. Although, like I mentioned in my last video, there could be planets out there that have, that are like neon pink and have like neon green rings, for all we know. Space is so large, and a good chunk of it is, unexplored, and there's like, several other galaxies out there. So who knows what all color planets there are. But if you look at, our solar system, they're like, red and brown and blue and green and all that. So I did try to keep with like colors that we've seen like within our own solar system, but not really doing like actual planets from our solar system. I kind of just, ended up making the planets look however I felt like. But I'm getting ahead of myself. Right now I'm just doing the little 4-pointed stars, went through, did the little dots on all of the nails, and now I'm going in and doing the little, like, I guess, starburst part, or what are those little things called? Like, the legs of the stars, I guess, or like the flare? I don't know. So it's just a line going up, a line going down, a line going to the left, and a line going to the right. After I got all those on, we did go ahead and cure that for a full 60 seconds. And then I went in with my dotting tool and did those little dots to create like little star clusters, like how I did on my nails. Again, trying to keep them all around the 4-pointed stars. There were a couple nails where I kind of had them like trail across the entire nail, but for the most part I tried to keep them. Oh, I didn't cure it. Okay, well, I lied earlier saying that we cured the 4-pointed stars before going in with these ones. It's been a few days. It's been like a week or so since I did this set, so I don't really remember fully exactly what I did. But anyhow, like I said, doing the little stars there to, add some more stars to the set. I only did one 4-pointed star on her nails, whereas like on my nails I did multiple, like 2 or 3 depending on the nail. But because her nails are so short, I tried to keep it, like, do less so you could still see like the cat eye that was going on in the background. I also had to be mindful of the fact that I was adding the planets on top, and I didn't want, the cat eye to get covered up and you not be able to see that, because that is part of the design and what I feel like makes it the galaxy design that I was going for. So after I got all the stars on, cured that for 60 seconds, now I'm going in and doing the base of the planets, which is super easy, just doing circles on all of the nails. If you wanted to, you could do like the wet on wet technique and do like your swirls or your stripes or your dots or like whatever your kind of design or details you're adding on to the planets. You could do that while the base is wet, but I didn't want to do that for this set because sometimes when you do like wet on wet techniques, like the colors can kind of mix a little too much and they end up getting a little muddy or just completely turns into a new color. So I did want to keep the base color of the planet and the like details that I added on top separate. So I am just going in and doing the bases first. Each one is a different color. There are a couple that I did repeat. I am using a 9mm liner brush for all of this. I use that for the stars, and I'm using that for the planets and like the details that are going to go on the planets. And with all these colors that I used, I did only do one coat of them. I didn't have to go in with a second coat. They are really good, like, they have really good coverage. Although I have stated before, sometimes you do, depending on like the colors that you're using and the background that you have, you sometimes do have to do a second coat. But for this, I didn't have to. Although I will say on that red one that I did before this blue one, I probably should have done a second coat on that because it is a little dark and it was a little hard to see there. Just kind of because of where I placed it, I did place it more on like the black part of the nail. I feel like if I would have put it more where like that blue spot is of the cat eye, you probably would have been able to see that red a little better. But I did just leave it with the one coat because I knew I was going to be putting other colors on top of it, and I felt like it was going to be fine the way it was. So then, after I got all these circles on, I did go ahead and cure for 60 seconds. And the trick for doing circles on nails, instead of like trying to do like, you know how you write the letter O or draw a 0 or just draw a circle on a piece of paper, you start at one point and just keep going until you reach back to that point. That's really hard to do on a nail, and usually if you do that, the circle tends to be a little funky. So the best way to do a circle on a nail is to you could do like the little plus sign that people do sometimes and then like connect those points together. I don't usually do that. So what I do is I will do like part of the circle. So I'll start at where like the top of the circle is and then go to the left side, and then I will start back up at the top and then go down around to the right side, if that makes any sense. I think seeing it is a better, like, you can get a better idea of what I'm talking about, like, watching me do it rather than me trying to explain it. Like I've stated before, sometimes when I try to explain things, like, I feel like it doesn't always make sense. So that's the good thing about being able to watch what I'm doing, although you are not being able to see very well what I'm doing because my hand's in the way, the camera's not focused where it needs to be, I'm like partially out of frame. I had to do a whole new setup in order to film doing my mom's nails, so I was struggling a little bit trying to find like camera placement and like where to position to be like in frame, and like making sure that everything was in frame and in focus, and even like the distance of the camera or like how far zoomed in I was also a little bit of a challenge. I usually, you know, I'm at my nail desk and it's always set up the same every single time. So I'm like used to doing it in that area and then having to move it all to a whole nother area and try and do it somewhere else was a little bit difficult. And this is also why I don't usually film whenever I do my mom's nails, or even when I do my sister's nails sometimes, because I have to do a whole new setup, and like it's a little difficult, as you can probably tell, with all the like shaking and like the everything being out of focus and not being in frame and everything. It's a little difficult when you have to move everything around and like readjust everything and like get used to a whole new setup. And because I don't really do their nails so much or often, it just, I don't know. I'm not used to, you know, I wasn't used to this setup, so things are a little bit of a mess. But I'm actually just gonna shut up now and let this play out a bit, and I will come back when I need to. So now that I have all the bases of the planets on, I'm just going in and adding some of the little details. For some of them I do stripes, some of them I do dots. I think a couple of them I did like try to make it look like land, like on this middle nail on this hand. I did try to make it like resemble it to look kind of like the earth, so like the water and then the land. And when I'm doing these, if I am doing multiple colors, like for the dots or for the stripes, like I wait to cure everything. Like I don't cure anything until I get all of the planets done and the detailing on the planets done. Like for this one I did kind of like try to swirl the colors together a little bit, so I did put a couple dots of red and a couple dots of purple and just kind of swirled those together. On that first one I did some stripes. I don't know if I used the same color for the stripes or if I used multiple colors for the stripes, but if I did use multiple colors for the stripes, I would do the first color, and then even while that was still wet, I went in with the second color. And if stuff did, like the colors mixed a little bit, it was fine. I felt like it added more to the planets. I did keep them pretty basic. I didn't do too much on them. If you wanted to, you could paint on craters. I probably should have done that on a couple of them, but also that would have ended up taking a lot longer to do all that like shading and everything, and I honestly really didn't want to do that on this set. I did kind of just want to keep it pretty simple. So like I said, I basically did just do like stripes on it, or like dots, little like land blobs or whatever. And once I got all of the nails done, or all of the planets done, I did go ahead and cure for 60 seconds. And you see me doing like all the, like each nail and then curing after I get all of them done. If you are more comfortable flash curing in between every now and then, you can, but I am comfortable with like going through and painting all the nails and then curing once I get them all finished. I did go to cosmetology school and like learned all hair, skin, nails, all that. So like this is how I was like trained to like paint all of the nails and then cure after you get them all painted. So like this is kind of normal for me, and like I'm used to it. So like I do this all the time whenever I'm doing like my mom's nails or my sister's nails. I'll go through, get all 5 of the nails done, and then have them cure. But then like when I'm doing my own nails, I do flash cure a lot more, since I am doing my own nails and I have to hold them in weird positions sometimes, and I am worried about like bumping them or something. Whereas if I'm doing someone else's nails, like they just hold their hand in like the same position the entire time, and I don't have to worry about like, you know, bumping them or anything. It also helps like to start. So I'm trying to figure out how to explain this. On this hand here, which is her right hand, since I am right-handed, I want to start at the pinky and work my way to the thumb. That way I'm not, my right hand isn't hovering over anything that I just painted. It's actually moving away from what I just painted, so that way I'm not bumping anything that I already painted. And then on her left hand, I start with the thumb and work my way to the pinky. Again, same thing, moving my right hand away from what I had just painted. I do actually tend to do that a lot as well when I do my own nails. So when I'm working with my right hand, and I'm working on my left hand, I start at the pinky and work my way to the thumb, moving away from what I just painted. That way it doesn't get messed up. And same thing when I'm doing my right hand with my left hand, start at the pinky, working my way to the thumb. Sometimes, depending on what I'm doing on myself, it does kind of get a little mixed up, and I just kind of am bouncing from hand to hand. And if I am doing that, then I will flash cure in between. But if I can go from like pinky, ring, middle, pointer, thumb, then I will, and I will do one final cure once I'm done with the thumb. But if I'm unable to do that, then like I said, I'll flash cure in between. But like I said, it is a lot easier when you're doing it on someone else's nails versus doing it on yourself. And then I wanted to add a ring on a couple of the planets. I think I did one ring, or a ring on one planet on each hand, kind of like how I did on my own set. But for her set, I just did the rings white. I felt like the white matched the best for the planets that I was doing the rings on. And I just did like a curved line over the planet, and then kind of dragged it out a little past the planet and then did another curved line like it was coming from the back of the planet to connect it to make that like ring look, if that makes any sense. And then after I got that done, I went ahead and cured that for 60 seconds. And then I take my shiny top coat from LGN and top coated her nails, and then cured that for 60 seconds. And here I am just applying some cuticle oil. I am so badly out of frame for this, but I mean, I think at this point we all know how to apply cuticle oil, right? It doesn't really matter if you can see me doing it or not. Just slap some oil around the nails and rub it in a little bit. But after I got this cuticle oil all rubbed into her nails, or her hands, I did apply it to both hands. Just didn't show me doing the other one because, like I said earlier, I felt like it wasn't necessary to show me doing everything on both hands. This is the finished result. I absolutely love this set. Like I've been saying these past few videos, I absolutely love galaxy nails. They're so fun, and there's like endless possibilities on what you could do for a galaxy set. Like you could use cat eye for it, you could just paint them on, you can do 3D stuff. There's, like I said, so many different things, and I love both sets, her set and my set. They're like the same thing, but they're also really different with how I went about doing them, and also like just the planets in general. So this is a really good, oh my gosh, what am I trying to say? Like you can really see here like the multiple different possibilities there are with galaxy nails and the different ways that you could do them. And honestly, I don't know. I was trying to get her to move her hands a little bit to show the cat eye effect there, because she's just like sitting there and she's like, I don't know what to do. I'm like, I don't know, just wiggle your fingers around a little bit like this. So that's what we were doing there. But anyhow, like I was saying, I love both of these sets. Like I love the 3D elements on my set, but I also love that I just painted them on her set. Like they both have a purpose, like they both like serve a purpose, you know, doing either way. And they both look really good, and I just really love them both. But that is it for this video. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope you enjoyed it.